My goal with this channel is to provide a safe space to people. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Dorka and this is the very first video on my English channel. Long story short, I will make a video later on explaining the concept behind this channel. But I'm basically from Hungary and I have a Hungarian YouTube channel where I share some tips, advice for mental health, stress, heartbreaks, relationships, self-confidence. And when I moved to the Netherlands, I decided that I am gonna give it a try and create an English channel for, of course, English audience. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be sharing my experience. I'm gonna be sharing some stuff that happened to me, and I will want to help you guys. If you're going through something that I've also went through, I want to be authentic and I want to just basically explain to you what helped me. So the very first video that I thought I would post and just talk about is how I went through one very big heartbreak in the recent past half year, and basically what I use or what helped me to get through a heartbreak. For me, heartbreaks are something that I really want to learn from. And this is why now that I look back on everything, I believe that in life you either win or you learn. I don't think that you can actually lose unless, of course, something extreme happens, which now I don't want to bring into the topic. But I also think that if you go through a heartbreak, you can learn a lot from it. But it takes time for you to actually look on the bright side and think, okay, what did I learn from this? And this is why I collected 10 tips that helped me through my darkest days when I was crying every day. I had no motivation. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to exercise. The biggest thing I did was literally to get out of bed and go make myself breakfast. So what are these 10 things? The first thing that not a lot of people told me when I was dealing with this type of pain was that you need to feel the things. You need to feel the pain. This basically meant that whenever I wanted to cry, I cried. Whenever I just wanted to lay in bed, I laid in bed. I didn't force myself to be better. I didn't force myself to smile. If I was having a rough day, I went to work and I just told straight up to people, look, I had a bad night. Please don't talk to me unless necessary. Because it was so tough that I just didn't want to put my feelings away. I didn't want to pressure my feelings away. And this actually had me, I think, one of the most, because when I let myself cry, I was crying a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. But at the same time, the more I cried, the better I felt. It's like a dam. If water is coming and you stop the water, it's just going to pile up to the point when it's going to burst. It's going to burst and flood everything. But if you keep the water coming every single day, then basically that pain is going to be basically consumed gradually. So that's why it's very good if you let yourself feel the way you want to feel. If you want to cry for the entire day, cry. Because if you push it away, the next day it's going to be actually worse. But if you cry today, tomorrow this pain will be less, because crying is also a form of processing something that happened to you. So that's why my first advice, anyone going through something very bad, let your emotions just to be felt. The second thing that I learned throughout this breakup was that go into no contact. There is nothing, I repeat, nothing that would help you if you stayed in touch with the person that hurt you so bad that you basically cannot even sleep or cannot even eat, cannot go to work. No contact is basically the hardest out of the 10, because that means you literally get rid of that person that you, I don't know, liked or loved or whatever you felt. But it's so powerful that all of my heartbreaks that I've experienced in my 23 years ended when I went into no contact, because that's when I didn't know about the other person. I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't know how they were I just simply didn't care. But for that, you need to hit that button. You need to hit that block button. And basically, the hardest for me was that you have to delete all the pictures. You have to delete them from every social media. You have to delete them from everywhere. No contact means you have no as of memories of them. And there is a difference. If you break up with someone, but you end up on good terms, I don't suggest you delete everything. But if someone hurts you so much that you literally cannot breathe because you cry so much or something like that, then no contact is necessary, because otherwise you are just not able to basically live. You are not able to move on if you keep looking at that one thing on your phone or the pictures, the social media platform, anything. So the second tip that I have is to go to no contact, which later on I will talk about. So if you don't want to miss that video, subscribe and like this video. The third thing that I advise for a breakup is try to avoid the things that you did together. Now, this could be either very easy or very hard, depending on what are your common things. So, of course, if you went to a specific restaurant every Thursday, you can easily avoid that restaurant because you can just choose to go somewhere else. But if you both play a certain sport, of course, you cannot quit your team just because your ex also played that sport. So in this sense, I try to suggest avoid everything that is possible and relatively easy, and try to, if you have to go through something every day, which you did together, try also to find something else of that. Like if you, for example, play the same sports, try to focus on your friends or try to focus on the sport itself and not the fact that you and your ex did the same thing together. This is something that you need to put your mind to it. Do I want to avoid it, or do I want to go there and just cry and suffer? Of course you want to avoid it. So this is something that I think is relatively simple and easy. But I know that I was also struggling a little bit of like avoiding common things that I just couldn't avoid. If he liked certain food, I'm not gonna quit eating that certain food just because he also liked it. But at the same time, if I eat that food, I remember of him. So it's a little bit a vicious circle. But I think that if you really put your mind to it, you can avoid basically almost everything. The fourth one is basically connected to the first one, is that do not force your healing process. Every time I told myself, okay, it's enough, you have to stand up, you have to go to work, stop whining about someone, you are way stronger, it didn't work. It didn't work because my body was just not ready. My heart was just not ready to move on. And if my heart is not ready, I can force myself, I can yell at myself. Just because I feel that way, it doesn't mean that my body can follow up. It's the same way if you are hungry and you tell yourself, I'm not hungry, that doesn't mean you are not hungry. It means that you are saying something against your body. Do not force healing also means, or also meant for me, that if someone told me that, okay, it's been 5 months, you should have healed from this thing, what happened to you, I just simply said no. Because maybe for some people, healing is 2 months. For other people, the same problem could take up 5 or even more months to heal. And everyone is different. So I'm not going to tell you that your healing process is not good, but then I expect you also not to tell me that my healing process is not good. Long story short, try not to force your healing process. Otherwise, you're just going to force against something that your body is not ready to do. The fifth one is actually the easiest, I think, is that every day do things step by step. So if your breakup was that deep that you cannot even get up to go to work, or cannot even make yourself breakfast or force yourself to eat, try to do everything step by step. When I was going through this, I remember that every day I went to the shop, I was like, I'm so proud of myself because I went out of the house. I put on nice clothes, I put on a little bit of makeup, and I just went out of the house. And I was proud of myself because I took step by step. I didn't go to work, I didn't go and see my friends, I didn't post on social media. I was just basically going to the shop. And this is where the sixth one is connected, is to give yourself a reward for small things. When you are this low that even waking up is tough or is hard, if you go to the shop, that's very impressive. And this is what a lot of people don't understand, the people that do not go through this. And this is why I'm confident in giving this advice to you, because I know that when you are that low that you cannot even eat, but you eat a piece of meat or an apple, you're gonna be so proud of yourself, because it's a small thing, it's a step by step. Today an apple is tomorrow an entire fruit salad. Today going to the shop is tomorrow going to the supermarket and to the gym. Step by step. And then if you do something, be proud of yourself, because if you are this low, going to the shop is an amazing achievement. It's an amazing thing to do, because you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone to just basically go and do something. The seventh one is something that will come with time, but it's very useful. If you're going through a heartbreak, you have to talk about it eventually. As I said, this is going to come with time. So when the stuff happened, of course, you don't want to talk to people. You just want to be curled up in your room, under the blanket, doing nothing. And that's okay. Again, let yourself feel your emotions. But eventually, after some time passed, it's nice to talk about it. Mainly because if you talk about it, you will realize that, are you actually sad because you still love the person? Or are you actually sad because you miss being in a relationship? Or what is the reason why you feel sad? Or if you cannot move on that person, but you talk about their bad qualities, you will see like, okay, I actually don't even like this guy anymore. And of course, your friends can always give you valuable advice. And I don't mean by advice, oh, it's going to be okay, oh, it's going to be over soon, because that's not true. It's not going to be okay if you went through a very, very hard breakup. If you went through something this tremendous, it's not going to be okay. But it's okay, because it's okay not to be okay. But at the same time, talking about it could actually make a change. And that's why I suggest talk about it as soon as you are ready, with someone you trust, or even with a stranger, because most of the time it helped me to talk to a stranger and not to my own friends, because my own friends would say, wow, you are so stupid to be still hang up on this person. And if that's how I feel, that's how I feel. So you can choose who you want to talk to, and you can choose how much you want to share. But I advise, try to talk to someone, try to talk out your feelings, because that's when you're gonna realize actually how you feel. The eighth one is another very, very hard one. And I don't really like to tell this to people, because I remember that when I was going through it, I also didn't like when people came to me and said, oh, this will help you. But basically, trust in time. So I believe that time heals everything, but it doesn't mean that when people come to me and say, oh, you shouldn't cry because time will heal you, and I can still cry, right? I can still be a sensitive person and cry. By this, time heals, I mean that what is hurting today will not hurt in 5 years. And when time heals, you don't realize that throughout your healing process. Because throughout your healing process, you go up and down. But if I look back, most of the time was the one thing that actually healed me from the things that happened. Because you can do a lot of stuff. Like you can keep busy, you can talk to your friends, you can cry, you can, avoid the common things. Everything I told you before. But if you try everything, and by everything I mean everything, and you are still not okay, then time is the one thing that helped me. Because there were some times when I was crying for months, and at one day I just woke up and I realized, okay, I don't actually feel sad anymore. Why not? Why not? I was asking myself, why? What did I do? Nothing. I did nothing. Time was the only thing that made me realize that, okay, now you are healed. And this is why it's the hardest, because you don't know if this day will come tomorrow or if this day will come in 5 years. The only thing you know is that time will always help you. But this is the longest process out of all the 10, and this is why it's the hardest. But you have to trust that time will heal. The ninth one, and I have just started doing this in my past 2 heartbreaks, and I feel quite bad that I didn't start it earlier, was that I started to write down everything I've learned from it. So basically, if you're going through a heartbreak where, I don't know, the guy cheated or the girl cheated, you can just write down that I have noticed these signs that actually led my partner to cheating. Why is this good? Because you either win or you learn. If you go into another relationship and you experience the same symptoms, you will not go through that again. So you will not go through this type of pain again. Or if the person was just using you, you can write down that this person was using me because they did the following, and you just write down the list. You will know that, okay, next time I will do stuff differently. Next time, if I see this type of sign, I will just change, because you know that you learned this from your previous relationship. And writing these things down is actually quite easy. What is hard is to look at this whole experience as a lesson instead of something like a lose or something very bad. Because of course, if I lose a person, I cannot think that, okay, I won or I learned. No, I'm gonna be like, no, I lost this person. But now when I'm healed and I look back, I'm like, okay, I learned so much. Or I actually won because now I have a healthy relationship. I have a boyfriend that loves me more than anything. So I won by losing all those people. But this is, again, comes with time. This is very hard. But just try to write down everything that you had in mind, that I learned this. And this is actually going to help you in a healing process and in your future relationships. And the last thing that I learned was that what helped me a lot, and this might sound a little bit childish, but trust me, it helps. When I wrote down the pro and contra list. Now, this sounds a little bit stupid because if you really love someone, there aren't really a lot of contras. But this was for me mainly when I was really trying to get over a guy that was like very toxic for me. Because if someone is toxic for you, a girl or a guy, if someone is toxic for you, but you are still attached to them, this is something that we will talk a lot about on this channel, because I have a lot of experience with that. If someone is toxic for you, but you are still attached, then actually a pro-contra list is very good, because you can write down why you are not attached to that person. Like, why is this person toxic for you? And as soon as I wrote down, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is literally so bad for me. And then I also made a rule to myself that if a guy has more contra than pro, stop crying. Like, just stop crying. If he has more bad qualities than good, why am I still attached? Of course, it's a little bit deeper than just asking why am I still attached, but a list in front of you can help you so many times to realize that you don't actually like this person. You are not actually attached to this person. You are just, I don't know, you're just attached to something. You don't know what you're attached to, but it's okay. At least write down the qualities. So these were my 10 tips if you're going through a very, very bad heartbreak. I really hope you guys like this video, and I would like to ask if you have any topics that you would like me to talk about and I have experience, then I would gladly make a video by next Sunday about this. Just let me know if you would like me to talk about anything, or if you have a preference, or if you have any questions, feel free to say it in the comment section. My goal with this channel is to provide a safe space to people that would really need help, but they are either one, unable to get the help, or they don't want to share it with people. So they just want to send it in a comment and I can always talk about it. I'm not saying that I'm a psychologist, because of course I don't have a diploma in psychology, but most of the time I have the experience, and talking from experience can actually help also other people, because if something worked for me, it might work for you. I'm not saying it will definitely work for you, but we can always give it a try. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a very amazing next week. I will see you next Sunday. Bye.